guys? Thank you for listening to the Buctober podcast, where we talk all about them Pittsburgh Pirates and that. My name is Josh. Today is October 1st. Don Kelly back. Ben Sherrington back. Travis Williams.
Back, go! Back. Yikes! Stop it!
Good morning to everyone listening in the morning.
Yeah, it is a good morning there, little man.
Good afternoon, evening to everybody else. They're all back. Listen, Don Kelly, I'm good with. Well, I have little to no beef with this, and honestly, there's not much else to say for today. We'll get into this more as it goes, obviously, as the off season goes, even maybe some things a little bit later that will be relevant to this. But first, Sherrington and Travis Williams. Listen, you know me. I love baseball. I love baseball related things. And, well, Travis Williams does not know anything about baseball related things, it seems. The off the field stuff, they don't even need brought up. You know what they are. For me, annoying. Don't distract us from baseball with this stuff. Like I said, don't need to bring it up. Williams is responsible for embarrassing Bob Nutting on at least 3 different occasions in 2025. We needed to move on here. He doesn't like that, right?
Dang it, Bobby.
He doesn't like being embarrassed. Listen, I don't mean to offend anyone here, whether you are, you like Travis Williams or you like the Penguins or whatever. But the NHL is not the MLB. You can't sit here and say, I've done this before. No, you haven't. You were involved with a hockey team. This is not the same. So don't pretend like you've been there before. It's a different world. It's a different landscape. It's different. Noah Hiles asked you some tough questions, and you basically did not address them. The words you put together into sentences before the presser are the only ones that you rehearsed. So your answer to his questions were just regurgitating what you already practiced ahead of time. You couldn't go off of the script. How'd you not prepare the answers to those questions? Because you're completely disconnected. You didn't know those questions were coming. I felt like you acted like the fan base. You had no idea the fan base was upset. You're not paying a bit of attention to what the fan base cares about. But you act like you don't even know what you're doing there.
Yeah, well, here's a suggestion. Go get someone who knows what they're doing.
Like I said, I want to be clear. Act like. This way, I'm not saying that you don't or that he doesn't, but it just felt that way. I'm surprised that he was even there for the press conference for Don Kelly, because I thought that he had the highest percentage of being let go. Not concerned with baseball, running promos, marketing a stadium environment, making it more enjoyable. And this year it was the opposite of that. Bad PR is usually something people are held responsible for. And it didn't happen, not this time. All right, Ben Sherrington. Baseball stuff. I've been saying for a few weeks now that I thought that they would make the decision that they've made. I've also been saying that they should move on. I still think that they should have moved on. I still think that they should change and move on. I agree with many of the sentiments out there that you've already heard, you've already read. Not all, but many. But if I have an idea of what you might expect from me, you don't really want me going off on this. Maybe you will roll your eyes at me, and that's okay. But you're looking for something different here, I think. I'm not sure that there's a whole lot of room for benefit of the doubt here, and you know that I try to give benefit of the doubt. I can attempt to play devil's advocate and try to navigate through some thoughts that might make sense. I don't know if I'll succeed. One of the comments they made was that they felt going with a new GM would take a step back, would be a setback in particular, is I think what the words they used. You're already back. You won 71 games after 2 years of 76, and we're going to do the same song and dance this offseason that we saw last offseason. You're already set back. We're 2 years beyond what we should have been. But I'll bite, right? Because I think the search for a GM would be difficult if you're trying to convince them that a 71-win team is close. I think that they're not. I actually agree with the statement that they appear closer than their record does, right? I actually agree with that. I do still believe in O'Neal Cruz, the player. I think that Brian Reynolds is not completely cooked. What I don't believe is that they'll actually do what it takes to replace the holes with impact players. They will get more supporting players and they will have no one to support. However, imagine the pitch to get a GM convinced to come here. We're close. And we want someone here who can cross the finish line. We need someone who's going to use our resources, which are sufficient, by the way, to build a winner here. Oh, no, the budget's not changing, but you'll have to make that room better using some sort of magic. You can do that, right? I just feel like this is your pitch. I don't know what GM is going to agree to come in and not have financial resources and decide not to blow it up. And so I do agree with their statement a little bit about what they mean when they say a setback. What they mean is a new GM is going to want to come in and he's going to want to make it theirs. They're going to want to do a rebuild. And the Pirates are at a place right now where they can't afford to do another rebuild at this stage. Checking the score here. It's the 9th inning. I'm recording this in the 9th inning of the Reds-Dodgers game. Reds almost had a comeback there. Key Bryant popped out the first with the bases loaded. You see what I'm saying here? Like a GM usually does want that. Now, if you were to come in and you had a nice core and all you had to do was cross the finish line, I could see that being enticing if they thought you were going to actually give them the resources, the sufficient resources. And you can say that, but nobody believes it. The task might actually be close to impossible when you think of it that way. There's one way out of this. Investments, right? No matter the GM, if they're not willing to convince players to come here using dollar signs as your pitch, it's not going to happen. And that goes for Ben too. I've if he's still here is what I mean. Like, even if it's not a new GM, even for Ben, it's the same thing. You've got to overpay. You've got to have the ability to overpay. I've made the point on this show before that I think the potential 2027 CBA anti-negotiations, notice that, anti, plausible lockout is playing a part in this. I believe that that's still possible. That they don't want to start a new path and then have a season and then have a shutdown. Whatever the reason is, the decision is made. And yes, that can still change. Bob can do what he wants.
Dang it, Bobby.
If he changes his mind, he can change his decision. Does that make sense? It's the same thing. I'm just not going to hold my breath for it, and I don't recommend anybody else does either.
I'm bummed out. Yeah.
I also think that there is a path for this team to be better, even with Ben. I just think it's going to take serious changes. Those changes is, I don't know. It's that I don't have any confidence it's going to happen either way. Go read the quotes, because this was one of the things that kind of got under my skin. And, you know, as I was thinking about this and I was reading it, I couldn't help but think of how selfish it sounded. And if you listened to Locked On Pirates yesterday, Gary brought up the same thing. And I was like, I'm so glad that you brought that up. Because if you listen to the quotes, it's about me. Ben Cherington talks like he can make a difference here. And I just felt like that was selfish. Why aren't you talking about the types of players who can make a difference here? Whether it's internal, trades, free agency, like you could have still pointed to, I can bring in the right players. And you know he's going to be vague. He's not going to tell you exactly what it is. That's okay. That's GM talk. I can get around that. But you didn't talk about the players. You didn't talk about those types of changes in the room. You just talked about how you could still do it, that you believed in yourself. I think he said, I'm confident I can do that. You can do what? Sign somebody? Because that's what we're wanting. We're wanting you to go make an impact trade. If you move Keller, you have to get a major leaguer back. I don't want to hear anybody send me a message about a minor leaguer in return. If you aren't getting a major leaguer, you don't move him. I don't understand that. The only way I'd understand that is if it came directly after or before a free agent signing where you had to clear that money. Because let's not beat around the bush. We know they have to clear money in order to sign people. And they've done that already. We know that they don't have money. We can pretend all day long that they can just flip a coin and go spend $160 million, but they can't. So how are you going to change it? Don't just say that you have confidence in yourself. You're not the one up to bat. Again, I play.
Yeah, well, here's a suggestion. Go get someone who knows what they're doing.
There's players on this 40-man roster who've been around for way too long. Things need to change. I even say for some of the depth guys, get new ones, even if they're not all that much better. The fact that they're a different name on the jersey, a different face, might be enough. And I'm literally talking about the AAA depth players. I'm trying not to name anybody. G1 Bay comes to mind. Let him figure it out somewhere else. Get somebody new. Get somebody fresh. We have guys that we could add to the 40-man to take his spot that could be depth players playing in AAA anyway. So even if it's that, but I would prefer to do something to make things look different so that people get just a little bit uncomfortable and have to impress or play hard or adapt or whatever it is. But you can't. The major league team needs starters. And a couple of those starters that are already there need to be bench players. We're going to spend time talking about that, all kinds of stuff throughout the whole offseason. There's a path. They just need to put their money where their mouth is. So changes, right? First order of business is coaching changes, and we're already seeing this. It was announced yesterday that Oscar Marin, Brent Strom, and Mike Rebello will not will not return next year. I'll start with Rebello because I think that might be the easiest. I'd be surprised if this is a really big deal. Don Kelly is going to have a chance to build his staff this offseason. When he became manager, he did it in the middle of the year. He inherited a staff. Typically, when you hire a manager, they go out and they get their guys. So I expect a little bit of this. That's reasonable. And again, if the culture needs changed, it's going to change by having different voices in the room. I'd not be surprised if Tarek Brock isn't gone too. If I said that right. Remember, he helps outfielders, and we have the worst center fielder in baseball right now. It might be time to get a different voice in there, speaking to our outfielders as well. I know that there's a lot of guys who like him, but I think sometimes that comes with comfort, and we need to change the culture. We need to change the room, make people a little bit uncomfortable. It has to feel different, or it's going to feel the same and they're going to get the same output. Right? Kutch said something very similar to that. Brent Strom told the Pirates 6 weeks ago that he would not be back as assistant pitching coach so that they could begin looking for a replacement. He also said that if another team was interested, he'd entertain it. Alex Stumpf talked about this. Guys, I think that means he just wanted out, right? I mean, I would say that it probably has nothing to do with Oscar Marin because in a quote he was quoted, I think Ken Rosenthal put out there. Strom said that Marin did a great job. The numbers don't lie. So he either thinks that he's good or was being kind. I'm fine with either one of them, right? So then it leads us to why Oscar Marin? This seems to be the one that's shaking everybody up right now, piling onto the frustration. Like, wasn't the pitching staff good and you let Oscar Marin go?
Man, it dang old complicated, you know, man. It's like a dang old Rubik's Cube, man. You like talking about blue, red, man, then you get to one side and then you like messed up the other side, man.
The Pirates pitching staff was good. Oscar Marin was improving the staff year over year, right? Or maybe he was reaping the benefits of good pitchers filling the roster. Either way, it didn't seem like that was the problem. More of a solution. Again, Don Kelly's got to get his guys, right? And so that's probably part of this. Alex Stumpf also reported that players were involved in this decision too. The quote from his article says, the Pirates took input from players on pitching programs and approach in regards to Marin, which played a factor in the decision to part ways and try to make an additional step as an organization. Kind of hard to argue with this kind of stuff, isn't it? I mean, the players, possibly Skeens, provided input into this. Kind of hard to argue. Matt Haig's been there 1 year. I know that we'll turn this around and say you got rid of the pitching, but you're not getting rid of the hitting coach. We were a terrible hitting team. I think it's possible they go a different direction, if not just for DK to build his staff, right? But if he's fine, you'd be hard-pressed to learn something about a hitting coach in one season, especially with the roster that was here. So we'll see how the rest of this shakes out. But I would say that the more that gets changed at this point has the potential to be better. If you want to change the culture, then you have to, you have to change the faces and the voices in that room. That's the way you change it. If you go in looking the same, then you're going to feel the same. And we can't have that. This is why I talked about this last year. In the offseason, we should have let Shelton go and let somebody else come in and build a whole new staff. Even if that was Don Kelly, he would have had the ability to do that last year. He would have had the ability to interview for that and to go through and say, okay, now build your staff. You can bring some guys back. You can bring in new guys. You can do what you want. You're going to see that right now, but you could have done that last year, even if that was your plan. I had something else planned for today. Baseball stuff. I thought the Pirates would give us some time to relax, watch the postseason and that. Instead, we got all this. That's fine.
This is fine.
It's fine. This is what we're here for, right? We have a ton of off season to get a ton more things in, and we'll get to them. I'll talk about the wild card round on Friday's show. We'll find out who's all advanced. Just for the record, to put it on the internet, I picked the Dodgers, the Cubs, the Guardians, and the Yankees to move on. So we'll see how that goes. I think I'm 2 for 4 on that as far as winning the first game, if I remember right. So we'll see. I really appreciate you guys sticking around for the off season. Hang in there, friends. It's baseball. It's meant to be enjoyed.
Just when I think you couldn't possibly be any dumber, you go and do something like this.
Let's go, Bucks.
Thanks for listening to the Bridge to Buctober podcast. Subscribing to your platform of choice is the best way to be notified for new episodes. And now, new episodes every weekday. Remember, live shows with my dad and Uncle Jake are Sundays at 9 p.m. Subscribe to the YouTube channel and join them in the live chat every Sunday. Follow them on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram at Bridge2 Buctober. Clear the deck, cannonball coming, and let's go Bucks.
Man, you are one pathetic loser.
Yeah, well, here's a suggestion. Go get someone who knows what they're doing.